why would I want to arrest you?
Well, I don't want you to arrest me, but
Yeah,
I
don't want to arrest you and take you to custody. I am going to arrest you for failing to provide a valid ticket to travel.
I paid the money.
You haven't. You can refund
I have paid the money.
You're not listening. You're shutting your mind. You're not open-minded.
So
you're just tunnel vision
what are you,
on your opinion.
What are you trying to tell me?
We'll let the police come, the British
We'll let
Transport
the British
Police.
Transport Police come.
We'll get your details.
Well, they will they will arrest me.
They'll get your details.
They will arrest me.
But you're not going to give them your details.
If they arrest me, then I will give them my details. I'm being denied exit from the station.
Right, have you purchased a ticket
Yes.
where you boarded the train?
I purchased the ticket and I can show evidence of that.
Right, have you printed that ticket
I wasn't
off?
able to get it printed, no.
Right, is there a reason why you were unable to get it printed
I was running
off?
for the train. I have to be in a really important meeting in Reading, and I had to run to get the train because it was going to cause me enormous problems if I didn't get that train and was delayed for that really important meeting in Reading.
Right.
And I thought, quite reasonably, that I've paid for a ticket.
Yeah.
I can prove I paid for a ticket. I can prove I've got the code for the ticket. And I literally, as I've said to these people, all I need to do is to go there to get that ticket and to show these people the ticket that I have purchased and paid for.
From the very beginning, this entire situation could have been wrapped up in a matter of seconds. Alex calmly explains that he's already paid for his ticket. The only issue is that he didn't have time to print it while rushing to catch his train. It's not like he's hiding anything. He's holding his phone with the booking confirmation, payment proof, and even standing right beside a ticket machine where he could print it out in moments. That's not fair evasion, that's just basic common sense. Yet somehow the people involved refuse to see it that way. What makes this even more frustrating is how cooperative Alex actually is. He's polite, transparent, and offering every bit of evidence needed to show he's done everything by the book. Any reasonable staff member or officer could have checked the code, verified the ticket, and let him continue on his journey without a second thought. But instead of using logic or simply solving the issue, the situation gets dragged out and blown completely out of proportion. What should have been a quick 30-second confirmation turns into a tense standoff, all because no one paused long enough to use a little judgment.
I understand their reasoning. All I'm saying is I've paid for a ticket, so my belief is that in law I can show I've had no intent to defraud anybody.
Yeah.
I haven't travelled this network trying to travel without a ticket, and I can evidence that. And so I did not intend to give these people my personal details. I don't believe they're empowered to take them, and I'm not going to give them to you. Should you, of course, arrest me, I will, of course, give you my personal details, and I will abide by the empowerment that you have. But I think, frankly, I can travel the country, I can go to Reading, I can go to Manchester, I can go all over the place, get a ticket, I can tap my phone on devices. It's only here in Liverpool that we seem to have this archaic system with these people who cause these problems for people who are just trying to pay for tickets and go about their daily business, minding their own business, which is all I'm trying to do.
Right, okay. Obviously, when you do purchase your ticket on the train line, you do have to tick to the terms and conditions that you have to print it off.
I don't know, nobody ever reads that stuff.
As you say, on this network here for Merseyrail, they do require you to have the said ticket printed off, ready for inspection at the gate or at the barriers.
The officer tries to defend his actions by citing the rail company's terms and conditions, insisting that Alex technically agreed to print a physical ticket when he checked the box during his online purchase. But Alex makes a fair point who actually reads every single line of those lengthy legal disclaimers. Let's be honest, most travelers don't scroll through pages of fine print before buying a ticket online. And here's the kicker: the company's own website clearly explains that only certain tickets purchased through third-party vendors require printing before travel. In Alex's case, he bought his ticket directly and has got the digital proof right there on his phone. So that entire "you agreed to print it" argument doesn't really hold up under scrutiny. What the officer completely misses is intent, the key factor that separates an honest mistake from a deliberate violation. Alex isn't trying to skip payment or get a free ride. He's literally standing a few feet from a ticket machine, offering to print the ticket on the spot. That's the opposite of someone trying to cheat the system. At its core, this isn't a story about a missing ticket, it's a story about common sense getting buried under rigid rule following. Instead of using discretion and resolving the matter in seconds, the officer clings to policy over reason, turning a routine misunderstanding into an avoidable confrontation.
All I would say is that, anybody can have a policy. Anybody can make a rule. Yeah? Doesn't mean it's a criminal offence, doesn't mean it's a civil offence. I don't believe I've committed an offence. I mean, they may think I've broken their procedures and policies. That's fine. I don't believe I've committed any offence because I've paid money for a ticket to travel, and I can prove that.
Yeah,
so where is my offence?
No, but you have got your ticket, but you've not printed the said ticket off.
So where's my civil or criminal offence?
But you should have printed it off before you travelled.
You could say you've got to stand on... Sorry to interrupt.
No, it does say, obviously, on the train stations and on the trains, that you have to have your ticket ready to present to these guys. And if you have it on the phone, which is the actual ticket, yours isn't the actual ticket. Yours is proof to say you've purchased a ticket, but you've not yet you've not yet printed that said ticket off.
I see what you're saying. My point is that what's happened, you could have a rule on the terms and conditions on Merseyrail saying everybody on the train has to stand on one leg, and everybody would have to stand on one leg, and you could threaten people if they didn't stand on one leg.
Alex hits the nail on the head with this one. He's not breaking the law, he's simply being accused of breaking a rule. And that distinction matters. The law clearly states that passengers must pay for their fare before traveling, which Alex did without question. He has the proof of payment, the booking code, and even the option to print the ticket right beside him. There's no deception, no avoidance, just bureaucracy standing in the way of common sense. Hat the staff and officers seem to be enforcing here isn't criminal legislation, it's a company policy, and company policies, no matter how detailed, are not laws. You can't arrest someone simply for failing to follow a private business rule. Yet somehow, that's exactly what's happening. When Alex throws in that quick-witted remark about standing on one leg, it drives the point home perfectly. It's a simple, almost comical example that highlights how absurd the situation has become. Sure, a company can create whatever policies it wants, but that doesn't magically turn them into enforceable laws. This entire exchange draws a clear line between two mindsets, one grounded in logic and fairness represented by Alex, and the other trapped in blind obedience to corporate procedure represented by the officers. It's a moment that exposes how quickly authority can lose perspective when rules are mistaken for laws.
It's not breaking the law if people don't do it, they're breaking your rules. And that's the difference I'm trying to get across to you.
This is fair bylaws, that it is a ticket theory, which we do have to have a said ticket to come onto the station, and for as soon as you board the train, you should have a ticket of travel, unless your train station is closed and then you've taken a picture to say it's closed. Come to these guys and they will sell you a ticket.
It's often closed, it's often nobody there, and then it would be fine.
But you've purchased your ticket already, but unfortunately, because you haven't printed it off, you should have printed it off before you travelled.
So my point to you again is that I've looked at the bylaws, and I may be wrong, but I've read the bylaws, and my understanding of the bylaws is that they say if you break these bylaws, you may be taken to court. And if you're taken to court, and it can be shown that there's an intent to defraud, you may be prosecuted. Now, I can show there was no intent to defraud. So if we go to court, it's all going to be very annoying for me, very embarrassing for Merseyrail, but I can show there was no intent to defraud. So I don't believe that I'm in any kind of situation where I've broken these bylaws.
Alex absolutely nails this exchange, and in doing so he highlights just how poorly the officer understands the actual law he's trying to enforce. What Alex is talking about here is Bylaw 18 from the Railway Bylaws of 2005, which specifically deals with ticketless travel in non-compulsory ticket areas. It's a regulation meant to stop deliberate fare dodging, not to criminalize genuine passengers who've already paid their way. The most important phrase in that bylaw is with intent to avoid payment. That single line changes everything. It means there must be a clear and purposeful attempt to cheat the system, not a misunderstanding, not a technical issue, and certainly not a passenger who can show proof of purchase within seconds. In Alex's case, the intent simply isn't there. He has his booking confirmation, his digital receipt, and is offering to print the ticket on the spot. That's transparency, not deception. Without intent to defraud, there's no crime, just a misapplied rule. Railway bylaws were written to stop people who sneak onto trains hoping to ride for free, not to punish paying customers caught in a minor technical hiccup. This moment perfectly exposes the gap between the spirit of the law protecting fairness and the way it's being enforced, punishing compliance instead of dishonesty.
So the train line tickets, as you said rightly, you have to print up. the tickets. If it's not printed out, it's not valid to travel on the train.
I know this is what the lady said to me.
Yeah, it's not valid on the train.
And what I'm saying is I paid for a ticket.
Can I just explain to you?
Yes.
What happened is sometimes people buy train line tickets.
Yes.
They don't print it. They do the journey. They complete the journey.
Yes.
What happens is they get refunded.
Well, that would be terrible.
They got refunded.
No, that would be terrible.
Okay,
Yeah.
so some people does that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying you do.
No.
Your intention to do that.
Well, specifically,
on these occasions.
Specifically, I asked these people to let me go just over there,
Okay.
to print the ticket.
Yeah.
And they would see I printed the ticket, and they would know that it had been
their
paid.
understanding would be
So
if they went here, you would have done the journey, and you got the refunded as well from the train line. Which some people does that.
The PCSO's reasoning here borders on unbelievable. It's a textbook example of how careless assumptions can quickly snowball into false accusations. His logic essentially boils down to this: you might have done something dishonest if we hadn't shown up, but that's not how the law works. That's not policing, that's pure speculation. You can't accuse someone of fraud based on a hypothetical scenario that exists only in your imagination. Alex, meanwhile, couldn't be more transparent. He literally offers to print his ticket right there on the spot, standing next to the machine that can verify his purchase instantly. That alone proves beyond any reasonable doubt that he's already paid and has no intent whatsoever to cheat the system. He's cooperating fully, providing evidence and showing patience even as the situation becomes increasingly ridiculous. What makes the officer's argument even weaker is that it collapses under its own logic. If Alex were genuinely trying to dodge a fare, he wouldn't be standing calmly in front of uniformed officers, insisting on printing proof of payment. No one trying to finesse the system invites police to watch them confirm their purchase. This entire exchange doesn't just reveal poor judgment, it highlights the dangerous consequences of presuming guilt before evidence instead of protecting fairness. The officer ends up undermining it, turning a law-abiding commuter into a suspect for no justifiable reason.
You can deal with them as a civil matter, as you said.
Yes.
Yeah. You can give you details to them.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
And if you don't, then the police get involved.
Yep.
Please get involved.
As
indeed
the
criminal matter,
yes,
where it's dealt as a ticket fraud.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
because I'm not giving these people my details. Because I paid for a ticket.
This is what's happening now.
There cannot be ticket fraud.
Okay.
Because I've paid for the ticket.
Well, there's
no intention to defraud in law.
Well, we don't know because.
Well, I can prove it. I mean, I can show you the receipt and I can get it printed. There's no intention.
As I say, it's not valid.
Okay. Well, if we have
reliably informed, that's not a valid ticket. It's a reference number for a ticket.
Well, I've had all three of you inform me that.
You should have printed your ticket off before you travel.
So, can I just go and print the ticket off?
No, you should have done it before you travel.
Oh, I see. So
you can't travel without.
So you're going to take me to court because you won't let me print a ticket. Okay, well, let's do it then. What do we do next?
Obviously, you need to provide your details to these people here. Can I just ask you the reason why you don't want to?
Yeah, because I don't believe they're empowered to take them, and I don't believe I have to give them to them.
They do have the power to take your details.
No, they don't.
They do. They are accredited.
I don't believe that.
British transport police officers claim that the ticket inspectors were accredited and therefore had the legal authority to demand Alex's personal details is completely incorrect. Ticket inspectors are not law enforcement officers. Their authority comes from the railway bylaws, and those bylaws only allow them to request a passenger's name and address if they have a reasonable belief that the person is intentionally trying to avoid paying their fare. That's a far cry from what's happening here. Alex's situation doesn't even come close to meeting that standard. He had proof of payment, a valid booking code, and even offered to print the ticket in front of everyone. There was no deception, no refusal to pay, just a misunderstanding that could have been cleared up in moments. What makes this moment especially concerning is the officer's unquestioning confidence. Instead of verifying what powers the inspectors actually had, she simply accepted their word as fact and used that to justify pressuring Alex. That's not proper collaboration between agencies. That's handing over police judgment to civilians with no actual legal authority. That it's a lazy, unlawful shortcut that undermines the very foundation of accountability. And this kind of blind trust is exactly why the public's confidence in policing erodes so easily. One officer's misunderstanding or refusal to double-check the law can turn a simple customer service dispute into a full-blown arrest. A civil matter suddenly becomes a criminal one, all because no one stopped to ask the most basic question: Asterisk, do they even have the power to demand this?
If I'm arrested, I will give my details to the arresting police officer when hearing the basis upon which I'm being arrested, because that will then be used in the court of law.
Right, at the moment, I do have a necessity because you're not failing to provide your details.
I will not provide my details until I'm arrested.
Yeah. Why would I want to arrest you?
Well, I don't want you to arrest me, but
I don't want to arrest you and take you to custody.
Yeah,
and
I really
you've
don't
got a
want that
meeting
either.
to get to.
I really don't want
I've still got things to do today, obviously.
I'm not going to be pressured into giving people my details. I have a right not to have the right to privacy. I will not give people my details and they're pressuring me to do that. I don't believe you have a right to take my details until you arrest me. If you arrest me, if there's a basis for you to arrest me, and you arrest me, and you tell me why I'm being arrested, I will of course comply, and I will of course give my details. That's
you
just
haven't
normal.
got the ticket.
I have paid for the ticket, and I can print that ticket just over there.
Yes, but you should have printed the ticket before you travel.
And you're going to arrest me for that.
I am going to arrest you for failing to provide a valid ticket to travel, okay?
So you're going to arrest me for
my
failing
necessity
to,
is
sorry, to, for
my
failing
necessity
for failing to
provide a valid ticket for travel, which you don't have on your person. You have a reference number, so I will arrest you for the offence.
And you won't let me print that to show you that I have a ticket?
Because you've already passed the point where you could have printed the ticket off.
So you won't allow me to print the ticket?
Well, obviously when I've finished dealing with you then, yeah, you can go and print the ticket off. That's fine. Yep. Okay. Do you want to come to our office and we'll speak out the way?
Yeah,
and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to follow this way? Thank you.
The decision to arrest Alex in this case defies all logic. Even after admitting that Alex had already paid for his ticket and could print it instantly, the officer still insisted it was invalid simply because it hadn't been printed before boarding. That completely defeats the purpose of ticket verification. The goal is to confirm payment, and Alex could have done that within seconds. Instead, compliance was punished and common sense was ignored. What should have been resolved with a quick check became an unnecessary arrest. The irony is almost painful. After putting Alex through the entire process, arrest, interview, and then to arrest, the officers eventually did exactly what Alex had offered from the start. They escorted him to the machine so he could print the ticket. That moment sums up the entire situation, a perfect example of how procedure can overshadow practicality. This incident exposes a deeper problem within British Transport Police. The lack of discretion and proportionality. Instead of applying logic, they defaulted to heavy-handed enforcement. The idea that someone had to be arrested before being allowed to prove they'd paid highlights just how backwards the process had become. It's policing by checklist rather than by reason, and it turns justice into bureaucracy. Legal experts commenting on Alex's case broke down the issue with precision. Under railway law, buying a valid ticket is the legal requirement because traveling without payment would be unlawful. But printing that ticket is merely a bylaw condition, a procedural step, not a criminal one. That distinction is huge. Failing to print doesn't automatically mean fare evasion. It just gives the company the option to pursue a case if they can prove intent to defraud. Since Alex had already paid and could clearly demonstrate it, there was never a legal basis for criminal charges, just a procedural technicality stretched beyond reason. The fact that Transport Police never moved forward with prosecution says everything. The grounds for arrest were shaky from the very start, and when Alex later reflected on the ordeal, he pointed out something even more troubling: the single justice procedure. It's a quiet legal shortcut that allows companies to push minor offenses through the system without full oversight. Alex believes it's being used in ways that cross the line into unlawful territory, and his experience shows exactly how that can happen. What began as a supposed ticket issue ultimately revealed something much larger: how corporate policies and even police procedures can be twisted to justify unfair enforcement. Alex's calm persistence exposed those cracks and reminded everyone watching that knowing your rights still matters. That wraps up today's coverage. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps support independent reporting. And don't forget to check out Alex Lennon's channel linked in the description below. Show him some support for standing his ground and shining a light on flawed policing. Thanks for watching. This is Rate the Audit, and we'll see you in the next episode.